Hello, welcome to the RC block. I'm Jamie Nitro, and thank you for tuning in. Tonight, I am very happy to be able to bring you the Cison V8 engine and build it together with you. This engine I purchased from sterlingkit.com, and I was able to get everything I need for this engine from those guys. I have also purchased every engine that I own from sterlingkit.com. That's how great they are. So yeah, if you need an engine, please check the link below and I'll make sure to add that in there so you guys can go check them out and get all the same cool deals that I get from these guys. Alright, let's get into building this. Just a couple build notes to know. First thing you want to do before getting into all of this is you want to do a seriously good prep. And that's what I've done here. I've washed the block, I've cleaned everything, I've deburred everything. Everything feels smooth inside. Any loose particles have been taken off, filed off, cleaned off. So now I'm confident I'm not going to get any of that stuff inside of the engine as I'm running. I've done that for everything. I've used WD-40 to blow out and clean these sleeves, so they're nice and cleaned. They're actually dry and ready to be lubed for installation. I've gone ahead and pre-lubed all of my piston rings and everything that I have expressed. It's all getting ready. It's been sitting for a couple days now, ready to soak up the oil and getting ready for the build there. Yeah, so I'm going to take you through everything that I do when I build an engine. We're going to build this Cison engine up real nice, and I'm very confident that we're going to have a good result at the end of this video. So stay tuned and let's get into it. Alright, so this is probably one of the most frustrating parts for most people because it's been a pain in the butt. Let me tell you what the good thing is though. Cison now includes the fluorine rubber O-rings with it. These things are awesome. They're going to do great for the expansion, contraction, heat, everything. So very excited to put that in. I'm not even going to worry about doing in the manual there, they mentioned something about doing a little bit of sealing on the bottom. But hey, you don't have to if you have the fluorine rubber ring. Well, we have the fluorine rubber ring, so let's not worry about it and just do it like we would normal. Now, normally with any O-ring I have, I don't care what it is, I'm not going to use assembly lube. I'm going to use an assembly grease. Now, what I like about using with the grease, it allows it to stay in place better. I also find that it just sticks to the O-ring a lot better too, so that's why I do that. On top of that, I like to use smoother tools for installing these items. And I mean, I don't like using metal and rubber in the first place if I can avoid it. So if you look at that now, I pre-greased the O-ring, so it's going to be really good. Yeah, I can just see the lube on it. You can see that it's sitting in place nicely. It doesn't look like it's loose or coming out, which is great. So now let's put in the back side here. A little bit more difficult to get this in just because it's deeper recessed, but nothing crazy. Just gonna use more grease. Now you gotta remember I've cleaned all of these sleeves, so really the sleeves are I'm gonna have to re-lubricate when I put them in. Now I'm not putting the pistons in yet, so I can get away with just lubricating the outside. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, this is so much fun. Okay, so we'll go in there. Just gently put it in. If you need to go in from the front, go in from the front. So, and this is aluminum, so it's very soft metal. Very nice. Okay, now we'll get the other one in. I mean, it is a little bit of a process, but if you take your time and do it right, you're not gonna have, there's less likelihood. I shouldn't promise no problems because we don't live in a perfect world, but if you take your time on this part here, grease up everything nicely, that's gonna help it to seal, stick in place, all that stuff. Now, these guys that I'm using are a surgical tweezer, so they're rounded, they're not sharp edged, and that's what I like about using these guys. Remember patience, this very small, tight area, and really take your time because this build is gonna go so fast. You're gonna wish there was more to build. Alright, I really like that. So everything's nice inside there. I will apologize now. I will be making a extremely detailed video. I want to make sure I include everything here. Now, I'm just going to add a little bit more grease on the top here. Just to make sure I get like a good portion of grease there. You don't have to, I just want to make sure. Yeah. So, you know, when it comes to what I've done here for my sleeves, so I make sure to keep them all in order for the right bank and the left bank, starting with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I always try to keep that in mind, putting everything in order like that, just because the more organized you can be, the better. Now, you do have two options, and it really doesn't matter which way you go with this. You can use a little bit of assembly lube to help slide in. The assembly lube is actually probably the better way to go, because it helps to get into those porous spots on the metal. So we're gonna go with assembly lube, and always remember to clean off the tip. You don't want to be, you know, if you accidentally collect some dust or something, you don't want to put that on the part that you're actually, you know, contaminate the clean part. You don't want to do any of that contamination. So, and just a few drops, because when I go and put it in, I'm also going to rotate it. The rotating will allow it to, some random spots here. Rotating as you put it in will allow everything to evenly distribute around the sleeve. Now, this is going to be a little tight, and as I said, do a little rotating first, kind of feel it. Alright, here we go. Ooh. I absolutely love how tight that is. It gives me chills because I know if it's that tight. Now, look through the bottom. I'm looking to see if the O-ring is coming out at all, and it doesn't look like it. Okay, I'm past the O-ring. Everything looks good. Okay, we're going in slowly. Okay, now this is another part here. You want to make sure that you're sitting in level and straight. You don't want to cut in too much on these O-rings here. No, if it helps, get a light. Get an extra light. I even have these cameras going and it's not enough light. Get an extra light, make sure, because if you need to, you can always take, just gently get any piece that might be sticking out. Now, this is going pretty good. Yeah, I feel really good with this, so I'm going to keep going. Very nice. Now, you look right here, I got a piece of O-ring that's sticking out right there. And these are the little pieces that will kick you in the butt later. And you don't have to be forceful. If you have to be forceful, there's something wrong. But just take and gently there's still a little piece of it. Now, if you notice, I'm just going along the bottom of the sleeve. I'm not putting any pressure either. I'm just going along the bottom so I don't accidentally go inside. No pressure. Okay, so everything looks good. I don't see any seal pinching. Very good. Okay, so yes, that took me like 10 minutes to do the very first one, but you guys also got to see how careful I am for each one of these. Okay, so I've gone and put this in the mount here just to make building a little more easier. Get the engine off of the table and up here. So we got the front there, the back. This is a great little engine mount. I really like it. They got the cutaway for the dipstick in the oil pan, for the filter here. They've even got a nice big cutaway for the starter. So they've done a great job with this mount. Plus they've made it so you can basically mount it into any RC vehicle really easily. So that is going to make life a little more easy there. What I'm doing now is this guy. So with this guy here, they have the, I believe this is number 36. Number 36 comes with everything, including this O-ring and this screw. Now it has the wash, or it has a little tubing on it to keep it protected. Save that tubing for something else later. And it's got two brass washers and looks like a nice little Teflon. Looks like a nice little gasket anyway, a little black gasket. So what I'm going to do right now, before we get all crazy with everything here, I'm going to put some Loctite on the back side of this. And in the instruction manual it says to use, I'm just going to go on the back side. I don't want to put any on the front side of the nipple there. Perfect. Now, in the instruction manual, it says to use some silicone to seal up around the end there. So for doing that, I personally like to use some alcohol, and I'll clean the area that I'm going to be siliconing just to make sure the silicone is going to set nicely. You never know, could have forgot something. That looks nice and clean. Wonder bar. And then this is where your silicone is going to sit. So what I would recommend here is we put the silicone on the actual tube itself. This is the clean side. I'll use, seeing as I'm not using this as a sealing surface, I'm just using this to fill gaps. I don't need to have a nice little, just need to have a little dab here to go around. I love the black stuff. It's like the best stuff. I use it for anything that I want to keep sealed. So you just got to put it in these two little grooves here. I'll put it a little head in the groove and just a bit in front. That way when you slide it into the hole there, it's gonna go push back a bit. And you want a little bit of excess, a generous amount, so it fills the hole nicely all in one shot. You don't have to come back later. Now, since you got that ready, don't want to put any there because you might plug up this end, and we don't want to do any of that. So we'll just take it easy with that. I've got my Loctite on the end of here, and that's ran all the way around now. And just to make sure I didn't get any on the bottom there. So we're good. Pop that in there. Now, like that. It sits nicely on there. And then just kind of go up. Set it in there. Go in place. Now it never fails. These ones don't go too tight, because it never fails. If you go too tight, it's going to snap on you. You're not the strongest. Plus you want to make sure that you're not like deforming that O-ring there. And so you see this green O-ring here, you want that to sit nicely inside without deforming it. So I got even on both sides. Okay, in any case, I'll be testing that later to make sure we're all good. Go around here just to get off any excess. Beautiful. That looks like a very nice seal inside. Not too messy. I'm okay with that. Okay. Now I've also polished this up here, so should help to seal up without having to put like over pressure on that tube or O-ring or anything, right? Okay, now for the back side here, we're gonna grab where are you hiding this guy? Yeah, seeing as we're doing all the clean stuff right now, might as well do that before we get all oily. And, alright. That definitely has to be re-cleaned. Just gonna clean it with milk-free and alcohol. So I'm gonna spray a little bit of alcohol on here just so I can clean this really nice, because this is gonna seal up against the block here. It's gonna seal up in this spot right there. So I'm gonna clean this area, and remember which side you're cleaning, so keep that up. Then you take the block here. Doesn't hurt to use a little more. It's alcohol, so it will dry quickly. Now, for this type of sealing surface, I'm not going to use the black stuff. We're going to use some gray stuff. I like the gray stuff, and it does great for sealing gaskets or high temperature sealing areas and stuff. Really good stuff, like motor seal. They use this stuff for motorcycle crankcases, but I use it for pretty much everything when it comes to sealing. And I'm just gonna take just gently dabs. And just try not to get it inside. You just want to put like a thin, as you can see, a little goes a long ways. You'll see when you put the plate back on that it you think you put a little bit, but it's actually a lot more than you think it is. So just very sparingly. When you're done, it might even be good to take something and just clean out, maybe like Q-tip or something clean, that you can just go and make sure that you didn't get any on the inside of the block there. Not bad. Now I can go ahead, and remember, when you put this on, it's going to squeeze out excess anyway, so you don't have to okay, so this was the side that and that's the outside. There's the side. At least I'm pretty sure. All right. The great thing about using these electric screwdrivers are they put the same amount of, they put equal torque no matter what. So when that bottoms out, I know each screw is going to be equally torqued. When I go and take my Allen key to torque it down, I can just torque them all the same because they're not all over the place. And as you can see, a little bit there got wiped out, which is what I want. So great, now I can clean this off and just clean off the excess. Might need a Q-tip. I love a clean block. Alright. Now we can put these pieces in. With these, they have a up and down arrow already on them. At least according to the instructions. Now, I don't see it on here, so I'm just going to reference the instructions here and just double check this quickly. Okay, so it looks like the super rounded end is going to go towards the block. So see how it's rounded around at the bottom here? It's going to go darn. Okay, and then there's also the longer part goes down into the block here. I love how everything fits really nice together on this. You know, wow, excellent. Okay. And try and clean off some of this around the screws here. I've already pre-Loctite these screws. was hoping, I don't think I really need to because it looks like the shoulder of the screw actually is firm against the brass. So it's not a big deal if you get a little bit of oil inside of these holes here. I like to pre-lube all of my brass and bronze. I'll let it sit for a couple days in some oil. Yeah, I like that. It's gonna sit nice and tight, actually. Wonderful. Okay. Flip it around. This engine stand really definitely helps. Against everything in my nature to leave it. Sorry, it's against everything I believe in to leave a hole with oil filled in it. I gotta clean it out. All right, all done. Ready for the next step. All right, now we're up to the oil intake hole or nipple. I guess 90-degree elbow it is. And that will be number 46. I've already put a little Loctite in there, make sure you don't get it inside, just on the thread itself, and don't put any inside of the block either. Just on the capture is more than enough. Give it just a slight little back bend. And these you really want to be careful that you don't over torque. That's why I like to use Loctite on here. Then I don't have to get it as tight. With these here, according to the manual, we don't need these gnarled pieces. Same thing, I've already Loctite the end, so they're ready to go. And then I've actually cleaned. Well, wait, I wanted to show you guys something. This is why I clean out each thread with a little bit of alcohol. On this side here, when I did this hole, I got actually quite a bit of little dirt and stuff off of that. So I'm going to go to this hole here. And there you go. Giving her a blow back. Okay, blew that back out. Good, good. But yeah, if you're trying to, you know, make something a thread that's gonna seal, having that stuff on the thread in the first place isn't gonna help it out. So now that I got that cleaned off here, we can put this on. And these have an O-ring on the end of it, so the Loctite is just there as an extra precautionary tale. These are a little bit bigger, but still kind of nerve-wracking when you do it. So I wouldn't recommend going too tight. Try to get the line up with this hole there, center line. Same thing with this side. There we go. So we got our coolant lines and our oil pump line. Boy, I'm almost ready to put the crankshaft in. This is going by really fast.